here's the next scramble, and we get another arrow case. But this is not the good arrow case because both of the LR edges are in the U layer like this. So for this case, you cannot do much influencing as much as you have to directly solve. So keep this green at the bottom like that, and then we start solving the blue. But before I solved the blue, I saw that this side was completely solved. Meaning, if I were to solve the blue in the front, then this side will be solved, this side will be solved, the green will be solved at the back, and I'll have the dots case, which I don't want. So what you want to do here is do the opposite of what you would do for solving this case. So for solving this case, I would keep the blue at the D layer and then do the U2 and then M prime. But now I'll do the opposite of it. I'll start with the M prime, U2 and then end with M. And now I have kept the LRGS in the D layer, but I have not encountered the dots case. And instead I have skipped the dots case. So now I can just simply do the U2, M2 and then do the AUF at the end. So once more, solve this at the back, see that I have this side solved, so I don't want to solve this side because I will get the dot case. So I do the opposite of what I would do to solve this case, M prime U to M like this. My LRGS is still solved and I also bypass the dots case, so now I can just straightforwardly solve like that and my LSE will be solved. Alternatively, you can also set this into the misoriented centers case. I already have one of the edges in here, so I only need this edge to be in the bottom like this, which we can solve like that. And now I have the misoriented centers case. So just simply keep this at the bottom, U2, M2, then this and this, M prime, and solve like that. So you can use both of these approaches, whatever you want, up to you. This is the next case, and then here we have the 4-flip case because I have a 2-flip on the U layer, and this is a bad edge. So it means that the other one also has to be the bad edge. So I have 2 in the U layer and 2 in the D layer, and I have the green in here, and I do not see the blue anywhere in my visible side, means it has to be at the back in here. The blue and yellow, and for this I don't really have a good enough way of influencing the edges, so I will just straightforwardly solve it. And for here I have 2 approaches. The first one is to start with M prime U to M prime like this, but the problem is because I have the blue at the back, both of my edges will be in the U layer like this now. So in this case I don't want to do the same. So what I'll do here is I'll simply swap this edge with this edge, so I have the arrow case like this, and then it is just straightforward solving. And we have the same case as last time, dots case, so I'll just solve the dots case like that, so I don't get the dots case. So quickly to show once more, green here, blue at the back, I want to keep the blue in the back position only, so instead of doing something like this, which will get the blue from the back to the U position, I want to do M prime U to M so that I can keep the blue at the back position and then solve this case straightforwardly as I would solve. But I saw that I have the dots case in here, so I just bypass the dots case like this and a UF at the end. Alternatively, you can also solve this for the misoriented centers case. So you can start like this to get green in the center position like this, and then keep the green at the back. And then you have the misoriented centers way of solving. This is also doable, but generally I do not do misoriented centers that much. So I would go for the straightforward solving instead of going for the misoriented center solving. This is the next scramble, and in here I have one of the bad edges on the U layer like this, and the other one has to be at the back because I do not see it anywhere else. And one of the LR edge is in here, and the one has to be at the back because I do not see it anywhere else. So with that, there are again 2 ways of solving this. So first one is using the misoriented centers case, and for that you keep the edge in here and then simply do like this, so that you do not disturb the edge at the back but flip this edge at the same time. And now you can have the misoriented centers case from the back like this. Both of your LRGs are solved, but the way I will solve this from this angle is to keep them opposites like this, and then I will push this edge to the D layer, and then this edge will come to the U layer and give me the good arrow case like this. This will be at the bottom, this will be here, so when I solve the arrow case, I can set this up to the D layer like this, and I could simultaneously solve the arrow case and the LRGs at the same time, like that. The rest is pretty straightforward. This is the next scramble, and we have a 2-flip case adjacent like this, and the LRGs at the back and here. And the standard way that I solve this is to keep the edges in here so that I can use M prime and U prime together. And I know that when I have the edges opposite like this, the LR edges, one in here and one in here, and when I have this case, I will have the good arrow case. So this works in my favor because then I can just solve my 2-flip and the LR edges at the same time like this. This is the next scramble, and we have the 2-flip case once more, and both of them are in the front now, and the LR edges are in here opposite like this. And the way I will solve this is to keep this edge to the side like this, and I will flip this and keep this intact. So I will have the good arrow case like that. and then I can solve my arrow case and the LRHS at the same time like this, and rest is the LSE. This is the next scramble, and in this scramble we have 2 flips on the U layer and again 2 flips on the D layer, so I have 4 flips all in total, and one of the LRHs is in here, and I do not see the other LRH in these 3 positions, meaning it has to be at the back in here. And generally the way I will solve this case is to simply do an M2 move like this, and then I have the arrow case. But in this case, since I have the one of the edges in here, I can sort of go for the misoriented centers case. And the way I will do that is to swap these two like this, and then this can go and match up with this edge at the back, and my LRHs are solved. And now just simply solve like that. When you see 4 flip cases where you have one of the edges on the D layer and the other edge can be set up so that the LRH becomes the middle piece, right? So this 2 will be side piece and this will be the middle piece. You want to see if you can go for the misoriented centers or not, because using misoriented centers for 4 flips reduces the amount of moves you need to solve the LSE. This is the next case that we have, and in here we have the 2 flip case on the U layer like this, and the LRH is in here and in here. And whenever I get this case and I see that the LRH is on the U layer and bad, and the other LRH is on the D layer and good, I simply match up these two so that they are on top of each other like this. And then I push them to the D layer like this and set up my arrow case like that. This edge is still in the D layer and good, but I influence this edge, so now that I solve the arrow case, I can solve both of them simultaneously to the D layer like this. And now this is straightforward and done. This is the next case that we have, and in here we have one bad edge in here, and I know that this is a 2 flip case because everything is good, so the other bad edge has to be at the back in here, and I have the LRHs in here. And this case is a really good case because this LRH is matching up with these corners in here, meaning I have the opportunity to cancel. So the way I will solve this is to just directly solve this case like that. And now since I knew that this blue was matching with the corners, I know that I can cancel like this, because moving these two to the D layer will be pointless because the corners will be in the proper position. So you simply want to cancel like this, and then you solve the 4C case like that. When you see a 2 flip case with one of the sides completely matching with the corners, you know a cancellation is coming your way and you want to cancel instead of putting them down to the D layer, which is sort of inefficient and waste a M and then M2 move. Alternatively, you can also set up the good arrow case by keeping the edge in here and doing the M' U' M' case. So now you have the good arrow case and you can still cancel and do your solve like that. But yeah, do cancel when you get one of the sides completely matching, and be aware of cases when the LRH is matching with the corners. This is the next case, and this is a 4 flip case because 2 bad edges are in here and 1 bad edge is in here, meaning the other one has to be at the back. And I see the blue in here, but I do not see the green anywhere in front of me, so it has to be the bottom, these 2 positions. And since I have 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top 4 flip case, and this edge is also in here, not knowing where the green is actually does not bother me at all, because I can simply do an M2 and I can still set up a good arrow case because this edge is on the side and this is good. So the green can be either in this position, doesn't matter, it will be here, still a good arrow, and in here the green is in this position, so M2, and it still gives me a good arrow case. So I can simply do them like this, but here instead of doing an M prime move, you want to do an M because greens and greens are matching like this, cancellation, and then you have 4C case. Once more, this was an interesting case, and when we have the 4 flip case with 2 edges on the U layer adjacent, and you have one of the LR edges on the U layer and good, you can set up a good arrow by simply doing an M2 like this. And then once you have the good arrow set up, you simply solve the rest. This is the next scramble, and I know that this is a 2 flip case because everything in here is good and this edge is bad, meaning the other edge at the back also has to be a bad edge. And one LR edge is in here and one is at the bottom in here. And for influencing these 2 LR edges, I will simply move the green in here so that when I do the M prime move, this will be a good edge and I will convert this into a bad edge like this. And this sets up the good arrow case for me. If I were to not move this green to this side, then I would have got this case, which is not the good arrow case. So I move the green to this side, set up the good arrow case, and I'm done. This is the next scramble, and this is again a 2 flip case. One edge is in here and one edge is in here, and the UL and UR edges are in this position and this position at the back. And I can set up the good arrow case in here by converting this edge into a bad edge and keeping this edge intact like this. So this is a good edge now, this is a bad edge, and well, it gives me the good arrow case, and I can solve like that. And here you can again skip blues and blues. So instead of doing the M prime move in here, you want to skip and do an M, and then you have the 4C only to be solved. 2 flip, LRHs in here, set up the good arrow case like this, then blues and blues are matching, M move, and then 4C, and done. This is the next scramble, and this is also a 2 flip case because I have one bad edge in here and everything else is good, meaning the last bad edge has to be at the back in here, and my LR edges are in these 2 positions. And this case is also quite easy to influence into the good arrow case. So what I'll do is I'll get this bad edge to be in here, and I'll convert this into a good edge, and then this will be a bad edge and give me the good arrow case like that. So good arrow case, get it on the bottom, and then 4C. The only thing that I'm doing is using simple triggers to set up my LRHS into the good arrow case. And if you are using more moves to set up the good arrow case, then it might be better to just go for straightforward solving instead of trying to set up the good arrow case. So you have to strike a balance between move count and getting the good arrow case. So in this case, I get the good arrow case quite simply, so I take that. But if I were to get the good arrow case after a lot of moves, then that wouldn't be worth it, and I would be better off doing the straightforward approach. This is the next case, and this is a 4 flip case because all of the edges on the U layer are bad. The UL and UR edges are on the D layer because they are not on the U layer. Now for this case, you don't want to do M prime U2, M prime or anything of that sort because it won't give you the good arrow case. For getting the good arrow case, you convert this 4 flip into a 2 flip case, the same case as the last time, like this. So it's the same case as the previous case, and now I can set this into the good arrow case like that, and I can put them at the back like this. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to strike a balance between move count and getting the good arrow case. In this case, I took a bit more moves compared to the previous cases, but I still got a good arrow case, and the move count was not anything tremendous, which would increase the LSE move count and make my LSE slow. This brings us to the end of this video. Part 1 and part 2 combined, I have done 20 LSE walkthrough solves. So I hope that was enough. And this is pretty much it. I hope you liked this video, guys. Give this video a like and also subscribe for more cubing content. And I will see you in my next video. Take care, guys, and bye.